Hi guys, welcome back once again, and yes, it's something a little bit different today. Not reviewing anything, we're not going to go off on a wild tangent and with a big script like I normally do. We're going to be talking a little bit about what I consider to be 10 of the more interesting CDs that I happen to have owned over my many years collecting them over my time on this earth, I've got quite a lot. I've got a fair few CDs going on. Kind of fell off the wagon for collecting CDs for a bit, to be honest with you, when I kind of got into the whole vinyl thing. So this is very much a case of CDs that I consider to be interesting in some way or another. They've either got a bit of a story behind them, they're a band that I think is either difficult to get a hold of anymore, or a band that I'd love to see more of. There's a lot going on with these sort of CDs. Some have got more interesting stories than others, obviously, but I don't know. I kind of like all of these different things. They're kind of intriguing to me. So without further ado, and in no particular order whatsoever, let's get straight into what I've got to show you today. First up is the Deer Hunters Complete Colour Spectrum. Now, as much as I would love to own this on vinyl, and believe me, I really, really would, I ain't forking over the 500 quid or whatever it is that it costs to actually get that. So instead, we've got it on compact disc. So you get each of these. There's a little booklet that comes with it as well, which is very, very cool. Booklet talks a little bit about the writing process involved with each of the EPs, as well as the lyrics, obviously. So it gives you a little bit of insight into what Casey and the boys were doing when they wrote the whole concept of the colour spectrum, which is, of course, each various different colour of the, colour spectrum, as it were, has been assigned a mood, an atmosphere, a type of music, and it's an incredible collection. It really, really is. It's one of those things which you really do owe it to yourself to check it out, even if you've never really heard of the Deer Hunter before, just because it's such a creative concept and it's so incredibly well executed. And it's even the CD can be quite hard to find these days, so this was actually a gift to me by my partner one Christmas a couple of years back, and I was very pleased when I actually opened this, so very, very much love this. Colour Spectrum by the Deer Hunter. Okay, next up we have got Holy Vacants by the band Trophy Scars. Now, this is very much not really a prog album per se. It's very, have a quick look at it there, like that. Ooh, isn't that cool? Kind of more like a post-punk kind of thing, like a post-hardcore punky kind of thing, but not like Sex Pistols punk. This is very much a case of I suppose progressive punk is kind of the best description I could probably give it to you. It's absolutely fantastic. It's an incredible record. Again, quite hard to find in physical format these days. Very, very pleased to have got this one. It actually came to me via Amazon, but sold from a charity shop. So that was kind of interesting when that came shrink-wrapped with the charity shop's label on it. It is loosely a concept, well, I say loosely a concept album, it's incredibly a concept album, but the story is a bit like, whoa, what the heck? Brass Tacks is about two people who find a dying angel in the back of a taxi cab and start feasting on its blood to gain immortality, and it's a whole big thing. But it's an absolutely astoundingly good record, and I would thoroughly recommend that even if, post-punk and that kind of thing isn't, generally speaking, your jam, I'd still recommend you check it out, because it's honestly one of the best records I've ever listened to, regardless of genre type. It's just incredible. Love it. So that is, in case you missed it at the start, Holy Vacants by Trophy Scars. Now then, we move on to a band who is now sadly defunct, and I'm still not over it. I'm still not over it, and that would be Native Construct and Quiet World. For anybody who wasn't aware of this band, when did they came out? 2015, I think it was? Something like that, 2015, I want to say. Yeah, 2015. They released this on Metal Blade Records' debut album by Native Construct, and it was really very much a case of one of the most creative, interesting, sort of really genre-pushing albums that was ever released within sort of like the mid-2010s progressive metal sort of space. And the biggest crying shame with this is they never got to do a sophomore. They were a one-and-done album, which honestly kind of sucks, because they had so much promise, so much potential, but the fact they managed to hit this masterpiece off right from the get-go really did speak, worlds of the talent and the quality that this band were really bringing to the table. Again, it's quite difficult to find this one on physical format these days. You normally have to pay a whole buttload of money off of Discogs, like 40 or 50 quid just for one CD, which is kind of ridiculous. I managed to get this back in 2015 when they first came out, so very, very pleased to have actually grabbed this when I did, because we didn't know they were only going to produce one album. We had no idea. We were hoping there was going to be a sophomore. But, hey, never say never. Who knows? Who knows? Anything can happen. It's only been nearly 10 years, so we've waited longer for albums from people before, so, never lose faith. Who knows? Maybe Native Construct will do a reunion tour, and we'll have a sequel to Quiet World called Loud World or something. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, Native Construct's Quiet World. If you've never listened to it, please do. Incredible piece of music. One of the greats of progressive metal. Wonderful. Okay, coming up next, it is Kevin Gilbert's The Shaming of the True. Now, I did a classics review of this like a couple of years back, and I stand by my sentiments within that review. Absolutely phenomenal record, one of the greatest ever, as far as I'm concerned, from the late, great Kevin Gilbert. Now, this was an interesting acquisition, this one. Long time ago, when I was obsessed with this record, when I first discovered it, I can't even remember when it was. It was a while ago, maybe, I want to say 2009, 2010 when I first discovered it, I think. So about 10 years after it first came out. You couldn't get a physical copy for Love Nor Money. It just didn't exist, and obviously nobody was pressing new copies of it or anything like that. But I'd signed up to Kevin Gilbert's mailing list on the website, just out of, because expressing interest, whatever. And I got an email one day about, for lack of a better description, it was essentially they'd found a whole bunch more copies of this in an attic somewhere, and they were like, oh my god, there's like 500 copies of The Shaming of the True, what the hell? So they were like, if you'd like a copy of this attic found compact disc, please send us some money. And so I did. And when honestly, the day that this turned up on my doorstep, I was like, oh my god, I cannot believe I'm literally holding a physical copy of one of the greatest records in progressive rock from the 2000s. This is ridiculously good. There's no way to express my love for this record enough that I haven't already done so in that classics review. So do check that review if you want to maybe have a look and see what my thoughts on this record are. But if you've never listened to this album, please, again, just like with all the rest, goodness sakes, check it out. It's so incredible. Really is a fantastic piece of work. Yes, this one's fun. Okay, so let's not beat around the bush here. It is Haken's Enter the Fifth Dimension, their extremely excellent demo album, which you used to only be able to get if you sent them an electronic mail back in the earliest days of their existence. And they were just like, they just send it you, it's like, here's my mailing address. They didn't want any money for it. So the funny thing is, it's basically just a CDR, like with like 2000, 2009 Haken, and it included, you got Blind, Black Seed, Manifold, Sleeping Thoughts Wake, Souls, and Snow, for a total running time of almost an hour. Now, not many demo albums can claim to be that long, but of course what they did with this is they reimagined and repurposed some of these songs into the Restoration EP from a little while ago. But I will controversially say that despite the muddy production of this, I think the versions presented on the demo album on Enter the Fifth Dimension are a little bit better. Like Snow is featured, Crystallized features a lot of the content of Snow on it, but I will go hands above my head, say that I prefer Snow to Crystallized. It's not as long, sure. I mean, this is only 13 minutes and 11 seconds, goodness me. But I think it's a better song. I really, really do. But the interesting thing with this this freely acquired CDR pressing with a really poor quality, like maybe inkjet printer, you can barely read what's actually written on there. Like, it's very, very poor quality. It doesn't know if it translates very well across the camera. But this puppy, last I checked on Discogs, the most it sold for was about £350. 350. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I don't think anybody's really paying that amount of money for it anymore, but somebody did at some point pay £350 for a copy of this, and I'm just sat here slightly smug going, I didn't pay a penny for it, check me out. Yeah, obviously I liked Haken before they were cool. Yeah, I weren't there. But no, great record. I don't know if it's on streaming services. I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. So maybe the only way you can really acquire this is to actually pay that 300 and odd quid. Maybe that's why people paid that much, because it's not available anywhere else. But it's a fantastic album. There's some really great tracks on here. And honestly, I'd be happy as anything if they literally just did a remaster of the entire thing, just like re-recorded it with new techniques and everything. Like, don't touch the arrangements, just re-record it and make it so that everybody can actually hear it. Or hell, even just put this on streaming services so people can experience what Haken was in the very earliest days. Still a great album. Absolutely love it. And now again, speaking more of bands who have unfortunately gone the way of the dodo, it's Fair to Midland's Fables from a Mayfly, What I Tell You 3 Times Is True. Now, again, this is another one of these bands that I discovered during like my earliest days of really getting into progressive metal. You know, it was one of those big bands for me, you know, and it was like everyone was like, "Oh, you've got to listen to this record. You've got to listen to the record. You've got to check out Fair to Midland. They're absolutely wonderful." Blah 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 blah. And you know, people weren't kidding. This band is absolutely fantastic. This record is absolutely fantastic. That sadly, I think they had like maybe I think it was 3 records. They had like their demo. I think it was Inter Thunder something. I don't remember what it was called. They had this one, Fables from a Mayfly, and then they had Arrows and Anchors, which followed it. I would maybe tentatively say I slightly prefer Arrows and Anchors, but only marginally. That being said, though, I do feel there is a little bit more, I don't want to say clout, because that makes me sound like such a condescending ass, but maybe a little bit more clout to having Fables from a Mayfly in physical copy, because I can kind of find copies of Arrows and Anchors reasonably easily, and I do have it, it's just somewhere else. But it does tend to be this one, which is often considered their quote-unquote debut, and God, it was so good. It really, really was. It was such a shame to me when they basically just called it quits, because trying to compete in the competitive world of like modern music was just proving too difficult, I think, is kind of how it ended, which is a real shame. But God, it's so good. It's so good. If you like vibe stuff like Coheed and Cambria, that kind of like energy level of progressive metal, then I think you would definitely have a great time with this one. 100% check it out. It's one of my favourites. It's like one of my favourites ever. I just think it's an outstanding piece of work, and you'd be mad to miss it. Just go and check it out right now, because chef kiss. Okay, again, more about bands who currently no longer exist. It is Beardfish with Sleeping in Traffic Part 2. Now, Beardfish are a funny old one because they had a very long, very extensive, very successful discography. You know, everything they put out was brilliant. If you asked a Beardfish fan what their favourite record is, you'll ask like 10 people and get 10 answers, let's put it that way. 10 different answers, whatever. Because, frankly, all of their records are brilliant, every single one of them, and they're all different in their own special way. They're all brilliant in their own special way, but I have a very, very soft spot for Sleeping in Traffic Part 2, mostly because the title track, the 35-minute epic, I think is one of the best epics ever made by anyone ever. It's ridiculous. It is so absurdly good that it almost makes me want to just cry thinking about how good it is. It's so good. But I really like this record because it's got a great sense of humour to it, as much as it has a great sense of musical virtuosity, you know. It can make you laugh as much as it can blow your mind, and I love that for it. But it's not like overtly slapstick all the time, you know. But there is a lot of comedy to be found within the lyrics, within the musicality of this album, and it's just honestly stunning. But again, because the band doesn't really exist at the moment in any sort of discernible form, it's difficult to get these on physical format anymore. It's quite hard. Not impossible, obviously, but I thoroughly love this record. Again, I picked this one up. I think I got this maybe in 2010. I think I didn't get into Beardfish straight away, but it wasn't that long after Sleeping Traffic Part 2 came out that I did get into them, and it was on the strength of that epic. Somebody was like, "Oh my god, you've got to check this out. The 35-minute epic is unbelievable." And I agreed with them. It was unbelievable, so I went straight out and bought the CD, because even at that time I was quite aware of the fact that MP3s easily lost, you know, between hard drive switches and computer muck-ups and what have you. So I was still very much a case of, I have to have it on CD, I have to have it on physical, you know. And even now, like some 14, 15 years later, I've still got it, and it ain't going nowhere. But there are rumours, if you'll believe the grapevine, that Beardfish are making a comeback. They might be doing a reunion tour, they might be just playing some live shows again. I don't know. Maybe there's going to be another album coming. I really do hope so, because I do feel that as well as they ended with Comfort Zone, I feel that there's still life in the old fish yet. Like, we can still have more coming from these guys. I mean, obviously, Rickard Sjöblom's quite busy with his work on Big Big Train, so I don't know. Maybe BBT will allow him to work on a Beardfish album again sometime soon. I don't know. I hope so, at least, anyway. It would be nice to hear some more from these guys. But if you've not heard this Sleeping Traffic Part 2, you don't need to listen to Sleeping Traffic Part 1 to get this record, so don't worry about that. But really, really, you check it out. Especially check out the title track, Epic, because honestly unbelievable. Just so good. Right, the next one is The Life and Times of Scrooge McDuck, written and produced by Tuomas Holopainen of Nightwish fame. Now, this I actually have on vinyl as well, somewhere on the vinyl shelves over there. I love it that much, honestly. But this one's quite special to me, because I took this one with me to Disneyland, and I actually got it signed by Scrooge McDuck himself in gold pen, which was quite fun. And then on the back, I also got it signed by Daisy Duck and Donald Duck as well. So again, that was super, super fun. And the Scrooge was very excited to see himself on an album. He thought it was very, very cool. Love that. And he was, of course, very excited by the fact that the pen was gold as well, because, you know, rich duck's gonna rich duck, you know. But it's a great, great little album. I mean, not even just from the fact that I'm an obsessive fan of ducks. I mean, hello. It's got some beautiful artwork inside of it. All this sort of Don Ross original sort of stuff in here. Really fantastic stuff. I mean, I don't know how many of you actually read The Life and Times of Scrooge. I've actually got it on a bookshelf over there somewhere in the corner. I'm actually overdue a reread. I need to read it again. No, honestly, this is a fantastic, fantastic album. Very instrumental, very orchestral, very glam, and very big and bourgeoisie. You know, it's a big, exciting, hilarious, terrible Scottish accents in places, but it's great. It's a really, really great album, and I don't know how much value it adds to it having Scrooge McDuck's signature on it, but it makes it priceless to me, so very, very pleased to have this. Okay, nearly at the end, we have now got the Stephen Wilson remixes of Opeth's Deliverance and Damnation. Now, I picked this up because, honestly, Deliverance and Damnation, taken as a sort of like a pairing, are easily some of my favourite records from Opeth. The fact that you had the extraordinary heaviness of Deliverance and then the incredible light acoustic breathiness of Damnation kind of working in tandem with each other. So it's kind of cool that you get them in this one little sort of booklet together. Very, very cool. And you get the 5.1 surround sound mixes as well with this, which is absolutely exceptional. And I have listened to those. I don't actually have the facility to do so at the moment because I don't have a 5.1 in my house. But I have had the chance to listen to the mixes on the 5.1 before, and as you'd expect from a Stephen Wilson mix, it sounds absolutely phenomenal. It's just mind-blowing how good it is. That man, he's put that man behind a mixing desk and all your dreams will come true, basically. And again, this one isn't that easy to find, at least not for a decent price. Last I checked, Discogs is selling this for about 75 quid, I think it was. I don't remember how much I got this for when I grabbed it. I think I grabbed it when it came out. Pretty sure I did, at least, anyway, because I couldn't resist the temptation to have two of my favourite Opeth albums in this sort of fancy little display booklet, as well as having the 5.1 mixes. So very, very, very cool albums. Even if you're not really into Opeth, I think a lot of people do still really enjoy Damnation, owing to the fact that it's a lot softer, it's a lot more acoustic and melodic driven, rather than having the sort of like that angry grrr stuff, which is so often associated with Opeth being the whole progressive death metal thing. So, I don't know, maybe give them a listen to. Definitely at least check out Damnation if you've never listened to Opeth before, and if you vibe that, then, I don't know, if you want something like sounds incredibly different, check out Deliverance as well, because, yeah, they're really, really good. They are really, really great albums, both of them, and the only annoying thing with this, as well as some of the other ones, and this is that they obviously are too big to fit in a standard CD display case. So I'm just like, God damn it, what do I do with these? And they just sort of sit loose somewhere, like, okay, whatever, but it's fine. It's fine. Okay, now, oh Jesus. Okay, to round us up, okay, a little bit of backstory first before I show you. I need to be careful with this record as well, and you'll understand soon. So I moved house in January. To where I currently am, you know, homeowner, woo, yay. And during the move, as one does, one often finds weird stuff that you forgot you even had. Now, this CD is very much one of these weird things that I didn't... Well, it's not even that I forgot that I had. I didn't know I had this CD, okay? I have never bought this. I do not know who bought this. It might have been a friend of mine, but every single person I've asked has denied responsibility for this thing. And I don't know. I still haven't listened to it, and I'm slightly scared to. I am slightly scared to do so. It is a record called On/Off by Inga Dingo. Now, you'll have to forgive my strategic finger placements, because there's a lot of interesting artwork, shall we say. I'll give you a little bit of a close-up. So it's a bit like that. And then on the interior again, got on off. Now the best bit about this is, now I'm going to be very careful here, is you take the compact disc out, and within there is a man who is definitely not doing anything untoward to himself. Nope, not at all. My thumb is definitely not placed there for any reason whatsoever. I promise you, goodness me. So, yeah, I have no idea what this is. I have not attempted or even posited the idea of listening to it yet. I'm scared to death of it. But it's so weird. I'm just like, okay, the artwork is very interesting. I'm certain that the music within will 100% reflect the artwork on the exterior. And I have not yet decided if this is a good thing or a bad thing yet. But if anybody out there has ever listened to Inga Dingo, now I'm willing to accept the fact that this is likely to be a no, do please tell me what I'm about to get myself in for. Maybe I should do like a live stream, live reaction video to it or something like that to see if it's as horrifying as the artwork looks, or if I've got a hidden gem on my hands here. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe this is the greatest album of all time and I just don't know about it yet. Maybe it's like, this is like Dark Side of the Moon for whatever genre this is. I have no idea. But I'm willing to bet that it probably isn't. But in the same breath, I would be happy to be proven wrong. So who knows? Maybe I will do a live stream reaction to Inga Dingo's on/off sometime. And so there we have it. That is a small selection of 10 of the more interesting or rare or weird, in some cases, CDs that I happen to have within my collection. I might do some more of these. I might do an update as to the CDs I've been buying recently, because I've been buying a lot more. I am due to do another vinyl update video at some point soon. I've nearly reached that sort of amount where I'm happy to talk about the things I've been buying recently. There's a few new ones up there anyway. You know, we've got Skrikodlin over there. We've got Slift, which is always very exciting. We've got Kairos' Mannequin down there. So I've been buying quite a few ones of new releases this year. Obviously, now that I've got a more permanent sort of living situation, I'm happier to find places for these things. And that's very much the case with the amount of CDs I've been buying as well, because I've got some decent stuff. You can't see it. I don't know why I'm looking at it and gesturing to it, because it's over there. You can't see it. I can see it, but it's fine. But I'm getting there. I'm getting there. So I might do another one of these at some point in the future. So if you have kept around till this long, thank you very, very much for watching indeed. And as always, guys, until next time, keep your rhyme signatures pretty odd.